know 'em.
Shake 'em.
Yeah.
Rock 'em.
Rock 'em.
Grab 'em.
Shake 'em.
Your neighbor.
Tell 'em
Move.
how
God.
much
What?
you love Jesus.
Jesus. Oh,
Need
no.
About 5
Yeah.
people
Come on.
to walk around
Yeah.
heaven.
Tell God.
I mean, the
What?
sanctuary.
I mean,
And tell
his
him.
edifice. And tell God, I got it. I'm
I
coming
got
out. Y'all make us do all that just to tell God I got it? Are you kidding me?
Annoying. All right, y'all. I'm Shanice.
And this is your girl, Leah.
Y'all already know y'all are tuned back into the
Good Judy podcast. Gang, gang.
This is our first season. We knee deep into the season.
Heavily.
This is Church Girl Chronicles. I hope you guys have loved the season so far. We've been having such a good time.
We really have.
Talking about things that we've always wanted to talk about.
In the open, instead of just talking with each other in a group chat.
Yeah.
We done added y'all.
This particular episode today is just going to kind of get the conversation that's kind of become mundane.
Right.
But I feel like none of the conversations that I've seen on this topic have been our perspective.
Yeah, or insightful.
Yeah, and it's, I don't even really want to say the title because it's so cliche.
Yeah.
But church hurt.
Yeah. And then more specifically, wah, wah, wah. It's just so lame. But for lack of a better term, and more specifically, millennial church hurt. Because I think it's a specific type of hurt attached to like this generation.
And before we get there, let's just play a little giddy up. I want to play I Spy Church Edition.
Oh, God.
You know, you ever been in a car when you were little and then play I Spy something green?
I like that.
I remember being on road trips driving from Florida to New York with my family. And
that'll be fun. I like this.
You would just describe something and I would have to figure out
what it is.
What it is in the church.
Okay.
Come on. All right. I spy. Now I'm in a Pentecostal church. Yeah.
It got AC or no?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Depend on the
it's
Sunday.
Iffy. Got you.
Yeah. Depend on the month. Depend on which deacon opening the door. I spy with my little holy eye.
Ooh, that's sanctified eye. Are you kidding me?
Something brown.
Ooh, and what? That's it? It's an organ. It's an organ.
Is it a ham and B3 or
it's a Leslie? It's a Leslie. Are you kidding me?
I used to have to turn the organ on at my church. Oh, we have to
get it cranked up.
Yeah.
Why does it take so long? What are you warming up?
Oh my God, so annoying.
Imagine having to go in early just to start the equipment up. Yeah. God, darn, then I gotta wait another hour for musicians. Hate that. All right, I spy something in the church that is black and is shiny.
The top of a bald deacon's head.
No.
The pastor's little black book with all the household numbers. I don't know.
How about
the card, the church credit card?
How about that? How about those suede Stacey Adams that y'all be tapping around the church in? Are you kidding me? Are you gonna whop me? Have I been whopped?
Something black and shiny. I haven't figured it out yet.
No.
The pastor's wallet?
No. It's absolutely not that.
The first lady.
You want me to tell you? It's a microphone.
Oh.
It's a goddamn microphone. So we can take that suspense away.
Now, I spy with my spiritual eye, my prophetic eye.
Let me see.
It's something round. It could be any color. And it makes a lot of noise, but you got to really know how to.
It's a tambourine.
Ha!
Shot.
You figure that. Hey. Nobody. I get you. Get that power.
Come on, man.
Girl, you are retired.
I'm a tambourine player if I ain't seen one in my life.
Yeah.
Okay, I spy something with my sinning eye.
Oh, not the sinning eye. Jezebel.
So my sinning eye, I spy something brown. Something brown and insecure. What is it?
Brown and insecure?
Yeah.
A first lady? Just kidding. Some pantyhose.
I was gonna go with the freaking church budget. The freaking
the church budget is insecure. Oh, girl,
the giving basket.
Oh my god!
But I get it. It's insecure because first of all, it never gets the same thing. It always is getting lowballed. Are you kidding me? Nobody ever brings their best offering.
Are you?
So I hate that. All right.
Okay, I spy with my little prophetic Holy Ghost.
I hate this prophetic eye. Okay.
Something clear. Ooh. What I'm seeing right now is something clear. And
I see it in the spirit.
Sometimes it has red stuff in it. Sometimes it has ice in it.
Oh, what you spot? A pastor's picture?
Yeah. Oh no, the pastor's
picture is covered.
Don't that water be looking good?
That's sweet. See, don't let them have a little tea.
I hate when they say, "Hold on," they just start going there.
During the middle of the service, you know I'm thirsty in a mug. I've been sitting here all day with no breath just to stay.
Carpet breath.
Smelling like an empty stomach. You gonna drink that cool breeze?
I wonder if the adjutants ever drink a little bit before they take it.
Before they cover right on up. How about that?
With the napkin.
Wait, I never really thought about that, but that's very scary to think about.
Y'all nasty.
Oh, you drunk, right?
Shit.
Yeah, no. If I ever become a pastor, which I won't, so y'all don't have to worry about this, bring me my coat.
It gotta be sealed.
Yeah, and then bring my ice separate because I don't know.
That was our spy. Let's moving on. Let's hit this.
Get
and
into
quit
it. Hit it and
now,
quit.
let me tell you this. My disdain with this conversation is I feel like y'all tiptoe around it. And one thing I don't like is the fact that people say there's no such thing as church. Church is a building. It's the people. But it happened while I was in church.
Yeah, and church is not just a building.
Punch me in the face.
Please, but a church is not a building. And y'all want to say we are the church sometimes, and then we're not. We are the church.
Y'all
the church is not the building. We are the church. Right,
for
exactly.
Sure.
So we are the church.
And then the thing is, the proof is in the harvest, right? So I think a lot of the times we're seeing the proof of some level of church, of hurt,
right? Absolutely.
Some level of toxic, right? Just some level of something happening. There's been a changing of a guard, and there has been some type of exchange, whether it be emotionally, spiritually, whatever, with our generation, because we see it in the offering, we see it in the attendance.
I think that the thing with our generation is, I think we are the first generation that has had to see so much, or get to really pull the curtains back, I don't know of a generation, who has known the ins and outs of really what church is. A lot of people just attend it, but the fact that church is becoming a lifestyle really now, and, you interact with it every day of your life, is really
And also, I think the culture has shifted so much to where it's just like, when you have kids, right? Your mother may not be as strict on them. So I feel like with how culture has progressed, I think a lot of people, even our generation and generation after, has challenged a lot of the stuff the practices and the things that happen in the four walls of the church. Right. Because a lot of that stuff, like we spoke about before, isn't biblical.
Absolutely.
And a lot of it is man-made. So if something was man-made, it also can be denounced.
Right,
it also can be reformed.
It has a beginning and an end.
Yeah, so I think there's a changing of the guards, and there is what I see as a reform happening when it comes to the dynamic of the traditional religion, per se. And I don't think it's people's faith in God or their belief in Him. I think that's pretty standard. A lot of people, if you've been in church before, your faith may have been challenged when it comes to the four walls and the religion part of it, but that's
really the least. Yeah,
Even Muhammad said it's not God that he doubts; it's his believers. Yeah. So I think a lot of the times, the things that we have seen and things that we have witnessed and experienced ourselves pushes us not to lose our faith in God, but more so like, all right, this don't feel good to me. Yeah. And I don't think this is right.
And I don't think this is in the will of God. Yeah. I don't think this is edifying, which is, if this is the purpose, of us coming to church. Yeah. I don't think this is edifying anyone or building anyone up.
Now, we have some questions that I wanted to ask the forum. And again, we don't have a guest, so this is our perspective. This is things that we've seen. We're going to ask each other questions, but feel free
to chime in.
Chime in the comments or however you feel. We're open to discussion.
Absolutely.
So are millennials tired of church for good?
No, I don't think that. And that's because this year alone, and I don't know if it started in the pandemic, but I felt like I saw just like a change in especially millennials' passion to want to go back to church.
Yeah.
Because even myself, and I feel like a lot of people, especially young people, I needed that time away from church. Yeah. That I needed that church hurt because it caused me to leave, and I had never felt like I chose God. You know, I always felt like it was forced on me, like it was a religion that was passed down, and I wanted to. It
was
choose.
like an arranged marriage.
Yeah,
like you had no say so in the matter. And I think when our perspective is like church hurt. Let's look at a different perspective. Let's look at it from a different angle. It happened. We can sit here and mope about what happened to us and how the pastor preached on us, how we were rebuked. It happened to all of us. And it's not to say your level of church hurt, we're overlooking that because we've overcome ours. Right. But the perspective of it could be maybe it was for your good. Certain things that happened to us, right? Because there's different levels. Now, if you were physically attacked, people have to deal with their church hurt and their trauma within the church and their triggers differently. But for me, like you said, it changed my perspective in a way to where it made me really rely on God for myself.
Absolutely.
I got to know him on levels that I never thought I had the grace to before, or the capacity. The capacity, you know? Yeah. It's like when you move out, that's when you really know. Exactly. You find yourself as a woman. And
I love that period of time. It just gave, like, I realized that, dang, I was one of them too. Like, I was a person who was just stuck in the pattern, you know,
I was judgmental. And I was one of the girls like, I'm never going to get pregnant. I'm going to be married around a certain age. And everything I said I wasn't going to do, I did. And God had to humble me. And I became so humble and so just relatable. Like, I was able to relate with people because, like, oh, this is what you go through when you have a baby out of wedlock. Or this is what you go through when, you know, you're a PK or whatever the case may be. But I agree with you. I don't feel like millennials are done with church. I feel like millennials are done being controlled.
And I think they're done with tradition.
Tradition.
For sure.
Yeah, and it's not all tradition either.
Yeah, not all. Exactly.
Because we love a good foot stomping. It's certain things about the church that I love. Like, I wish there were still certain things implemented in church. Like, do churches still have Sunday school? The things
do they still have Hallelujah night? Like, I mean,
it's so many different things. Do they still have church bulletins?
Can I just ask you this? Tell me, like, in what good ways? Because we talk about a lot of bad stuff about church. Tell me what great ways, like, the church impacted really, like, your life. Like, tell me what you really love about the church.
I just remember at the peak of my zeal. I remember just having this zeal for God where it was like Saturdays, I shut everything down. Like, I didn't hang out with my friends. I was in my closet listening to Live in Africa, Israel Houghton. Like, just preparing myself.
Yeah, for
I
service.
am not forgotten. Yes, that whole album was a soundtrack of me just preparing.
I am a friend of God.
Girl, I would put that prayer shawl over me and just go for blood and get up happily to go to 5 a.m. prayer. I remember being able to pick my clothes out and just, for me, church provides a community, right? Especially when you grow up in it, it's all that you know,
and it's all you have. Yes, because you can't relate to anything else.
And the thing is, until you step out of it, you don't really appreciate it.
Absolutely,
like, you know, when you move out, and you see, okay, I don't like paying bills.
Yeah, no, I need to come back to
your mom a little bit more.
Absolutely, but it's like I don't like the world.
Yeah, the world is kind of corny too. So give me Jesus,
please.
But y'all can keep some of this stuff. But the positive stuff of church is the community.
Absolutely,
that's consistent, and especially if you go to a church that is about that, like, and that's the, you know, y'all heard us talk about storefront as far as pastoring, but that's one thing I loved about going to a smaller church, because you know everybody.
Absolutely.
There's certain things that the pastor knows. You can call him. He's relatable. He's tangible.
Touchable. Yeah, exactly.
And just having people have your back. There's people that I grew up in church with I still talk to this day.
Yeah,
my godparents. You know,
like their family. It's family that I have for life. A lot of people that I grew up in church.
For sure.
So yeah,
and I think,
definitely agree with that.
Like we said before, we never said this on the podcast, but I think if you look at it from a positive aspect, church builds character in a sense.
Absolutely.
You know, and I said from a PK standpoint, it didn't teach me how to become a woman in certain aspects.
And an individual, but
in the other part of it, the other side of it is like it did build characters.
And let me tell you one thing about it. Church people are some of the most talented, diverse. They can just do everything. Like I don't know if that's a church thing or because we grew up in church, but it just seems like people that grew up in church are talented.
But it builds a certain stamina, a certain because you ever got to a resistance mic and the sound didn't work. And if you want to try to do music, that's the best training ground because everything that could go wrong in the secular world or performing goes wrong at church.
Absolutely.
And if you go to a church and they're honest with you, you'll learn different
the church
levels.
is quick to sit down.
Baby. They say that's all right. That means you probably can't.
Yeah, that means you can't sit.
It builds that character. You doing bad. And then the thing is, like, I grew up in a church where there was rebuke.
Right.
Like, you couldn't just live any kind of way. And that's one thing I want to challenge about us millennials. Like, part of it is church hurt, but a lot of it is we don't like being accountable sometimes. Like, we don't like being corrected, but sometimes correction is needed.
Absolutely. But more so than that, I think that our generation, we're caught up on what deserves correction.
Right, it's selective. You want to be selective when you should be corrected.
Absolutely.
You shouldn't, like we said the other day, and we'll talk about this on another episode, but I think there's certain respect levels and things that we've challenged in this generation that I do not like.
Yeah, no.
Like, there was times where I wouldn't go to church if I was too hungover.
Absolutely.
Like,
or
it was just
like
all
weed.
right, yeah, I'm not going to church today. Or even if I do go, I'm not singing on the praise team.
I'm not sitting in the front row.
To just be out, and I know I'm over here hungover
and smelling
y'all be boldly going to church high.
Grey Goose, smelling like
That's
hypnotic.
Crazy to me. Or driving up to church with your music loud and it ain't gospel.
And it's not. But that's smoking. That and I feel like a lot of minstrels do this, and we can talk about this with them, when we get with them. But I feel like a lot of minstrels, they are relying now on other stuff. Like we talked about the other day, they're relying on other substances.
That's not the Holy Spirit.
Ghost. Yeah.
And I feel like that's disrespectful. And no, this isn't a podcast where we're challenging. We'll talk about that later.
I like to smoke.
Yeah. So the thing is, I think it's the intent. Like, if you need to go to church and to operate in your gift high, that's a little weird to me. I even don't like how these new millennials go into church and have PDA.
Oh, I don't care if you're an old saint. Don't have PDA. If you're not married, even if you is, I just feel like
that is cringe.
Like holding hands. You know what I kind of don't like, and I hope I don't sound ridiculous. It make me uncomfortable when the pastor go up there to introduce his wife and call it the cream and the coffee, the hole in the donut, the jelly, the glaze. That makes me very.
It's too much because I'm gonna be focused on God. I'm thinking about
you creating a lot of things that you don't even know. But like. That church hurt is real. So tell me this: one of the most distinct things you can remember that caused you to leave the church that you feel like was a stain of church hurt on you?
Oh, okay.
Let me pick one. Let me ruffle through my list.
Okay, I think, and just to be transparent, I was dating a musician at this church, and I was newer to the church, and I had already developed a friendship and what I thought was a relationship with him prior to.
Right.
And he was a really good person, but at the end of the day, it's like when you got a musician that's handsome or whatever.
Yeah. And even if you're not.
Yeah, and I'm not even going to go into detail because you know how that stuff goes. Yeah, for sure. Other women that either dated him previously or women that he's still talking to.
Absolutely.
But I've come to a different sense of self, so it's kind of like until he says you're his, you're not.
You're not.
So you can't really get upset. So I don't move like that, but that's a different topic.
Yeah.
But I think what really pushed me to leave church was really actually being in a situation where the pastor needed to cover both of us, but only covered one.
Wow.
And then being called a Jezebel and being called and talked about in that manner, like I was sent to a particular church when my intentions were
switch
pure.
Up be so crazy.
Yeah, it's just like the way that women aren't covered and when it comes to certain people and certain positions that people hold in church.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like if I had to decide between my MD and one of these altos, the alto, you're bye. I don't care about you. So
you and that baby
feeling like that at one of the most I had lost everything. Yeah. So for me, my intention was church, like, really? I need this covering. Forget church. I didn't have money like that, but I was giving every ounce of my money, sacrificing. Because at that time, that was my time to plant and to sow seeds because the harvest that I'm living now was from that season. But even during that season, I think that's one reason why I was just like, why am I even trying anymore? If even me at my best, even when I'm going through hell, I get called a Jezebel and I was sent on assignment to destroy your church. No. That's terrible. Yeah, that's terrible. And even now I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad at the person, right? No party involved, right. But I think to answer your question, that was probably the aha moment, like, okay, wait.
Did you stop feeling protected? Did you ever feel protected in church? To be
honest with you, no.
No, never. No. I've never felt protected.
I've never felt protected. Even being on the praise team, even being a praise
pastor's kid, I've never felt
a PK.
Never felt protected.
I've never felt as a black woman. Period. Let's just say that.
Period.
It's like our protection and our safety and our needs and stuff like that. It's so like,
and even at the times, I'm not saying y'all have to have favoritism, but at the times where y'all give it to the wrong.
Yeah, give it to the wrong. You know, even if they're not even the wrong people, you just give it to only certain people.
Certain
it's very
people. You already have your mind made up.
And then even with that, it's like, if you don't fit, if you're not into this social circle in church, I think that's the root of a lot of church.
That's a lot of church hurt.
That hierarchy and those cliques and things like that, like it's like a competition to get close to the pastor.
It's supposed to be a family, and they really, it can be nasty. It can be mean girlish. And I hate that.
And I think if you sit down and talk to the average person that's like, I'm not coming to church, that's probably on their top 5 list.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think that's something that needs to be talked
about. Connection is something that people need to feel like they belong. And in church, being in a community, you cannot have a community where there's no connection. Yeah. If people don't trust you, they can't connect to you. Absolutely.
God doesn't have stipulations, and we preach him all the time. We preach love. So it's like, you ain't got to lie to kick it. You ain't got to look this way and be this way. You ain't got to sing on the praise.
You don't have to pay $500 and then
you don't have to give up your rent money.
You don't have to wear swaddling clothes.
Yeah, so I think for the most part, that's just one thing that I have a question. So,
okay,
is church becoming too mainstream? Because listen, the thing is, we're kind of coming out of the cusp of our backslidden stage where we're getting back into it, and I think it's just like when somebody in jail for like 10 years and they get out, and it's like what? That's how I feel with this new. When I left church, culture was different.
I don't know what this is.
Yeah, it's just a lot of things. What have y'all done? Run amok?
We don't know what's going on here. Please update us.
A lot of stuff is just really confusing.
I will say this. Yes, I do. I feel like it's. I don't know. I feel like it's both a good thing and a bad thing for church to be able to have the opportunity to, reach the people that they have now. Mm-hmm. But I think that what they're doing with the opportunity is what the problem is. I think we need to stop live streaming. I think first
that too. I think churches it's okay to become culturally sound. But when the world is influencing the kingdom,
when you can't tell the difference at all,
you can't tell the differences. And I want y'all to throw trap gospel as far as you can. If I hear one more 808 over Jesus is the reason, like, and the crazy thing is how we were talking about Kirk before, before. He did it in such a creative,
and he made his own
innovative way.
It was his own.
Now y'all literally are copying Future's beats.
That's it.
And Little Baby.
You taking the TikTok
putting a remix over it. I don't like it. I'm over trap church. I'm over trap gospel.
Why in the world did y'all remix Sweeping Through the City? Are you kidding me? We don't need an 808.
I'm walking into the hookah lounge, I'm just gonna go to a real one.
Yeah, to a real one. I'm going to brunch. Are you kidding?
This is why we go to brunch, because they still gonna play Never Would Have Made It.
Ever. So it's same thing. All we missing is a pastor and a little woman's intuition.
But yeah, I think the Stellars was a direct indication of where we are.
Yeah.
And that it just set the tone to where we're gonna keep progressing.
That's what I was about to ask you.
What's so
where do you think
annoying,
we're going?
I think what's the problem is we've created this thick line. You either on this side or that, and I say CCM and Gospel. Because let me tell you this.
Please, let's talk about that for a little while.
Music actually sets the tone for culturally where we're going.
Where we're going, absolutely.
Because the music affects the praise and worship. That affects the tone. Absolutely. That's why the music now, that's why choirs are becoming so extinct, because y'all are doing away with them. And the problem is 90s, even early 2000s, there was a plethora of different expressions.
Right.
And all of them were needed. Right. You had quartet groups thriving. Right. You had choirs thriving. You had contemporary gospel thriving. Hillsong. You had
everybody wanted to be an individual.
Yes.
And
but now it's like you either with Chandler and them or you with Ernest Pugh.
And I'm not with Pugh. Let me tell you right now. If you want me to make a choice,
I'm going to Shire. I'm going to the Kingdom Tour.
You are enough. Are you kidding?
So yeah, I don't think it needs to be. this
it
or
doesn't
that.
need to be at all. It's not all or nothing.
And I'm saying that to say, like, we've become so all or nothing.
Exactly.
And I feel like God, we can except trap gospel, y'all.
Yeah, no, not that.
That should never be on.
I let Kenton Jones slip through my fingers. I don't know how.
Look great too. Like, how did you get
he's very good looking though. That's
But yeah, like, I feel like the Stellar Awards gave us a bird's eye view on where culturally where we are. So it's kind of like it's gonna become more progressive, more mainstream, more trendy.
What would you like to see? What would you like to see the church, not the girls? What would you like to see the church going?
Because I'm well balanced. Like, I love quartet.
How do you think they could be inclusive but not? How do you think they could be in the world but not of the world?
The formula was laid. The foundation was laid.
I know that's right. Go back to the
Your intention should always be God.
Right.
Like, if some of the stellar performances,
good.
If I didn't know they were gospel artists, I wouldn't know that was gospel.
If I wouldn't have known the Stellar Zone, I would have thought it was the BET Awards.
So I feel like there's like an identity crisis, and this is a whole nother topic we can have for a different episode. But just to highlight, I think there's an identity crisis happening in the kingdom of God, and people are trying to figure it out. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because in crisis you can it either makes or breaks.
And it means we're trying to change and move forward.
And I do feel like there is. Because when I was signed, I was one of those, like, I want to change the game.
Yeah.
Me and TC, rest his soul, we were just like, we have this expression, we want to change the game. We want to be accepted. We the rebels. We the underlooked and overlooked. And now you're seeing the overlooked being put on.
How old were you when you got signed?
I was 23.
Really?
Yeah, I was signed to RCA. Yeah, I signed a deal, Stanley Brown, and then I started touring with Ty.
Wow.
I toured with Ty for about 5 or 6 years. So, for me, like you said,
did you still go to church when you were on tour? Like, do you consider that your backsliding phase a little bit too, Travis? So that was you was heavy in it.
Yeah, I started backsliding after I left Ty.
Sorry.
I'm gonna give you about 2017.
If you need a gauge.
A timeline. Now, I was saved and sanctified. I was a member of Love and Faith Community Church.
Wow, okay. Yeah. Good old Pat Bishop Lamar. Come on. Do me like Jesus. Can't nobody. I said do me like the Lord. Can't nobody. Do me like Jesus.
Yeah, so, I come from that. So before we move forward, we've come to a special place in our podcast where everybody, everybody can participate.
Come on.
It's offering time.
It's offering time in the kingdom. Come on.
Come on and get those wallets and those purses. If you love what we're doing, if you want to sow, if you feel inclined
please, we love y'all, Judy. We hope y'all love us.
Shout out our sponsors below. If you want to give, if you want to donate, if you want to sow, if you want to become a sponsor, click the link below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. All
Absolutely.
Right, we're back to it.
Right back to it. Churt.
Do you feel like... Okay, I want to talk about this.
Okay.
Rebuke versus abuse. The Bible says open rebuke is better than private love.
Okay. So let me give you my thing with rebuke versus abuse. All right. I feel like what Brian Carn does is abuse.
I agree.
And I don't know if you saw that video of William McDowell, which is controversial, which I don't want to talk about it too much because my opinion is probably different than a lot of people's. Although it was done very distastefully, to me, I feel like that was more rebuke than abuse.
Okay.
So I feel like rebuke, something comes from it. Like, I feel like a change or something comes from that.
And also, it's the underlying, it has to be love.
Absolutely.
Because I'd rather you correct me in public than show me fake love.
Absolutely.
Like, in private. So I think I'm big. I grew up on rebuke. Like, and I feel like people like Brian Carn, even the guy that was going off on his members, calling them names because they didn't buy him a watch.
That's abuse. That's abusive.
It's abuse. Anytime your intentions are to embarrass,
absolutely, diminish,
degrade. That's when we're going away.
Down. This is abuse lane.
Abuse lane, literally.
Literally.
But I think it's kind of like
it's a thin line
of us to expect to live any kind of way and not be called out. Yeah. Like that's a job as a shepherd to reel his sheep in. So
I think the problem though that I think that a lot of millennials have is they know so much about their pastors now that they just can't accept.
And guess what? Who's to blame? A lot of y'all are too familiar with your members. Listen. Like we had Thomas Cody on here a couple weeks ago and he talked about boundaries.
Right.
Like you have to set some type of realistic boundaries and stick to that. Don't date women in your church. Absolutely. Then maybe they won't be inclined to talk back to you after you preach or think you are all types of
so.
Again, if you call your spiritual son, your musicians, your spiritual son, don't smoking weed with them.
Yeah, and don't
Did you
go
say
to
don't
sleep. Wait, I was sorry. I was on something else. I didn't mean it like that.
Well, I mean
if the Stacey Adams fit.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't hang with them. Don't have them over your house and
don't let them drive you to your little escapades.
Here's the thing. My father always told me, people love your divinity, but some of them don't have the capacity to handle you in your humanity. So if you know that and it comes back to bite you in the butt, you can't say that's in the name of rebuke.
No.
Because at that point, you're using what they know against you. So, like you said, you have to set boundaries. And I think a lot of the times, millennials, we know too much. We're exposed to way too much. You want us to respect your trash when we know.
And that's why a lot of us, that's why now in this generation, we just can't accept, correction. Because we like, how can you correct me when you're,
and you want to be respected, but
and you want to be too common. You're just too common.
Back in the day, my bishop it was such a mystery to him.
My bishop now is still a mystery.
You only seen them when they came out to preach. You didn't know too much about their private lives.
I don't even know what he wears during the weekday.
Y'all don't have no no discretion no more.
No,
y'all
no shame.
No shame. No accountability. No type of nothing. It's just like.
Whatever,
it's cool. I'm cool because in the name of being relatable.
And this is the generation.
You're losing your witness.
And this is the generation where everybody feels like I deserve to be happy, or I should do what I want, or I should. And it's really not like that. I mean,
what did Thomas Cody say on that last podcast we did? He said, accepting the call that was on his life ruined his plan
in the best way.
And I think some people have to understand that being a Christian, some plans, it's gonna be a wrench put in some of your plans, and that's the reality of it. When you commit to something, it's kind of like a legal contract.
Absolutely,
you are signing. You're becoming one with God. And I think it's a contract. It's a spiritual contract. And I think y'all sign up to be Christians, but it's like, it's got to be stipulations.
Yeah.
It's certain things that come with this walk.
Absolutely.
That it's non-negotiable. Exactly. And y'all can't get mad when people like, hey, sis.
This is what it is. This is just it.
Yeah. So and that's my issue with some of these new millennials or these generation. What is this? Element of P? Whatever.
Gen Z.
Whatever
is what is coming up now.
Y'all don't want to do nothing. Y'all don't want to work. Y'all want to just sit around. Y'all challenge everything.
That's all y'all do is debate.
Yeah.
Now that I think about
anything. If y'all get on Twitter and just everything's a problem. Y'all overanalyze stuff. It's just like, okay,
like we have to be sensitive.
Why are you a Christian? Go to the world. Go. Bye.
If you question all the theories and everything, I get a headache.
I'm not a theologian.
Some stuff I don't even really question God because I have taken the time to.
I read a tweet where a person was like, fasting, like why it was abuse. Like, because why would you agree to withholding your body from nutrients and eating because of a pastor wanting to call a fast?
Wow.
Now, I know biblically, listen.
That's a doozy right there.
I know you're not supposed to tell people when you fast. It's just certain stipulations with fasting, but I know it's biblical and I know it works. So,
right.
But here comes generation element of P.
I mean, they call a lot of stuff abuse that's really not.
Yeah, it's abuse.
I mean, it didn't really harm us.
You're withholding yourself from eating.
And we eat after 7. Are you kidding me?
It's only till Sunday. We're trying to get my cousin out of jail.
We on a Daniel. We eat fruit and veggies.
We turning our plates down so my granddad can come home.
Are you kidding?
Mind your
He
business,
been in the nursing home for weeks. If this is working, don't worry if I'm killing myself. It's for a cause.
But the thing is, like, the thing that also annoy me with the church is kind of like how we could believe in prophecy, but we judge people who believe in crystals and stuff. Now, my perspective is very unorthodox. I don't really buy into all that stuff. But I feel like you should respect everybody's belief system because manifestation is just speaking things as though they are. It's the same thing,
just from a different source.
It's just a different source. Yeah. And if people want to believe in a rock or big fat Buddha,
whatever you want to cry out for you.
But everything isn't demonic. Some stuff is now. But for me,
I couldn't watch Harry Potter, and I think that's very crazy.
I don't like Harry Potter.
I'm hurt. How will I know now? I probably would have liked it had I had a chance. I'm a weirdo. You're not like
yeah. But my challenge is like I had to sit down with somebody. And I heard them out, and it was just like, yo, so that's kind of like prophecy, right? Or that's kind of like faith speaking. Those manifest. When people say manifest
and be delusional and all these other things.
Jonathan Nelson got a song called Manifest.
And then I know somebody else, I don't know who, they said manifest your love. I think it was Israel Hall or somebody.
So we can't condemn one and operate in the other.
And I feel like the word manifest may be in the Bible, but don't quote me on that.
A couple times. So I think it's just everywhere. Everybody's trying to find themselves.
Yeah, and I think that's really what it is. Everybody, especially me, I'm at the point in my life where I really want to know something more than what I have. Like, I really want to know purpose.
I want to know the depth.
Yeah, and
I know the surface stuff. I know.
I need the layers.
How they say you got the
meat or what? You got the condiments and no meat?
No, it's how people got the form. We got the form.
You had
down
the platform.
pat.
You needed the plan.
Yeah, I got the form. I know the Hakamashaya. I know how all the colloquialisms. I know all the surface facade stuff from church.
All the mannerisms and everything.
I know it. The charismatic part of the gift, the gab, the quickening.
The crying on cue.
Theatrics and stuff. But there's some depth to Christianity in this faith.
There's a lot.
I still have to. It's about unlearning and relearning,
right? And discovering, because I don't even think we ever knew, you know?
And it's okay to ask.
And that's the thing, like, we have to, I think now we have to get out of this thing, like, we don't know everything. We don't know everything that there is to know just because we've been doing church for maybe 100 years, 200 years.
For sure.
There's so much stuff that we need to learn.
It's been done the same way, and everything can be upgraded.
Absolutely.
I think we're in an upgrade.
I think we're in an upgrade.
In closing, I want to talk about a subject, and we don't have to stay here too long. But in conclusion, I want to call this segment "Pain in the Pews." And the thing is, like we said in the episode before when we were talking about the stigmas and things like that,
right?
I really want to challenge Christians and people that go to church to be a little bit more conscious?
Yeah, conscious,
or aware of the pain that people deal with in church. Everything isn't going to be done like this.
Absolutely.
And there's so many people that are hurting that get overlooked. It's kind of like, oh, because I'm not popular, my pain doesn't matter. Or because it doesn't fit in
this type of package.
Issue. Yeah.
That y'all think that people should have.
It doesn't fit in the church person starter pack.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, your husband ain't leave you.
There's other issues. Oh, your husband ain't gay, he ain't cheat on you. There are other things
outside of the stereotypical
the church, like those
Christian issues.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of stuff that's unresolved.
Right.
A lot of pain that's lying dormant. One, because a lot of people may not necessarily feel safe. There's a lot of unresolved things. And I feel like we have to, moving forward, my ideal safe zone? My ideal, I guess, idea of what a great, thriving church would be is outside of the Holy Ghost stuff, having realistic human things that we can do. Like, if your church has a therapist.
But that's why I feel like church did good back in the days, because we always were together, but we did things other than church. Like, the youth went on trips and we did other things. Like, we went to Carowinds. Practical things.
But even beyond that, it's kind of like, okay, you teaching a woman how to be a Proverbs 31 woman, but there's no classes set for a man to be a good husband.
A good husband, right.
And then if you know a man is abusing his wife, why are we forcing her to pray that he'll change and telling her to go back? So I feel like there needs to be a safety net in that aspect of church. It's kind of like, yeah, we know how to shout, we know how to dance and stuff, but are we building good people?
Absolutely.
Are we rebuilding their hearts?
Absolutely.
After they learn how to pray, do they know how to forgive?
Absolutely.
We done shouted together, but did we talk?
Did we talk?
Did we open our mouths and say, you know what, sis, I'm so sorry. It's so many women in church that don't talk because they got a man in common that neither one of them are with.
And I think that what is really lacking in the church now is the ability for us to put ourselves in each other's shoes. That I feel like we really had at one time. It's like the empathy, like I'm here and I'm walking with you. It's lacking. We don't really have that anymore. Like we think that one person's problem, like we could never be there.
I love that. I love that because when it's like I know it's a self-walk, but also when we come to church, it's about collective inclusion.
Where two or three are gathered. That fellowship,
so
that's power in that.
If you're sitting next to somebody and you haven't, first of all, a lot of that's discernment, but I feel like there's a lot of pain in the pews, and there's a lot of pain in the pulpit.
Talk about it.
Is there a safe space? Do pastors have an accountability? Do pastors have a therapist? Who do y'all go to vent to get reshifted and rebooted? There's so much pressure on pastors.
And does it have to be a bishop, or can y'all go to somebody who is not in the church?
Yeah.
You know?
Is there a vacation time set in space? Is there you know, and the thing is, we push people to get married and get to the altar, but we don't teach them financial literacy. We don't teach them how to communicate.
We don't even do a marriage counseling no more, which used to be required before the pastor would marry you.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. So I feel like, you know, again, we could sit here and exchange stories all of the time, but I think both of us are so far removed from what happened to us. And it was in a different culture then.
Absolutely.
So I feel like if we were to tell our stories, the pastors would either get canceled or
baby,
the stuff that we went through like let's talk about the secondhand embarrassment thing before we go. And this is some of the stuff that can in a funny way start to trigger you and introduce trauma and church hurt. My first one is Easter fits and speeches. Like if y'all
first, let's break down the first part.
Make sure your child can read.
Let's break down the first part, because that read is on the back end. But let's start with the fits. Imagine this. Imagine you just want to wear some slacks, a nice button-up blouse, and your mother finds the biggest.
I'm gonna show y'all a picture of me when I was a little girl. It's just like, first of all, y'all have us sitting at the hair salon for 5 hours, frying our little premature hair that's still trying to grow in.
We got a piece. You put spritz on that.
Now we got to hear all the church gossip on Saturday. Which missionary done ran off with the church money? Which deacon got a peg leg and gout? We don't care about
I'm underneath the dryer.
And then we got these thick stockings over these open toe kitten heels.
My mom would put me on stockings and socks. She would put on the stockings and the lace socks over. Are you kidding me?
And them Kinsiata dresses, I'm still traumatized.
Do you remember the dresses that used to have the little sheer jackets to go over it?
I remember.
It was a nice little Shirley Caesar suit.
Let me tell you, I have 3 sisters, and my father, one Easter decided, mind you, at this point,
put y'all in match.
Yes, at this point I'm like 12, so I'm aware
of what I look like.
Ugly.
Yeah.
Like I done had an even Adam moment. I know I'm naked. I know. And I don't like that.
I can see.
I can see now. Woo. So I picked out what I wanted to wear out my suitcase, because I'm with my dad.
What was it? What did you pick out?
It was like a cute little polka dot dress with my cute little heels or something like that. Something really just me.
It's nice.
I wanted my hair in a bun or whatever. Yeah. I had these Jerry curls, these tie curls, wet and wavy. Then my dad went into the little maybe whatever store.
Maybe hair stores or something?
Nah, not a hair store, but one of them dresses, maybe JCPenney's perhaps.
The stores?
Whatever. Got me and my 3 other sisters the same
he went to hammer
dress, the thickest stockings they ever made.
What color were the stockings?
Probably opaque pink. I don't know.
Blush.
All I know is I had called myself liking one of the boys in the church. Oh. And
why they always say that? Call myself liking. Call myself courting.
Deacon John's son. I was so embarrassed.
I cannot.
Like, why do y'all put us through that? That's one.
That's triggering.
What's one of yours?
Oh, God. Well, first of all, I have a very specific story. But when the musicians at your church don't know how to play the song that you're singing,
y'all have to know y'all church. Bro, if you know a deacon playing the drums and
a freaking youth pastor is playing the keyboard.
Not even a youth pastor. How about the church mother?
It's playing the keyboard and the organ is playing itself. You might need. So y'all be picking the most difficult songs. Knowing Cletus can't play it. Yeah, and God bless my brother. So my brother, he just really messing around on the keys. But you know when you grow up in a small church, my brother used to have to play the keys, and I used to have to play the drums.
Oh my God!
Little 1-2, a little pocket. I got a little pocket on me. But yeah, so me and one of my friends had really wanted to sing The Real Party by Mary Mary. Get your shiny dance, make some noise in your bed. Don't you know you got the victory? So you know how hard of a song. That's a difficult song. So my brother was like, I don't know how to play. I told him before church, I had planned it. I already knew I was going to say it. I told him. He was like, I don't know how to play this song, but I had faith in him. I had faith in him. So we get up to sing the song, and do you know my brother slowed us to a pace? My brother took us to a nice 145 BPM. Get your shot at your dead, make some noise, move your feet in your hands. Well, you got a chance, you ought to get up again. Can you imagine? Don't you know? And the drum player. Oh, 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 oh.
I know y'all didn't do Warren Campbell's
and then we
beat
ran
like
it. We kept going, don't you know? We ran, come on.
I know the church mothers they love a good drive.
They love a good terrible song. They love a good terrible selection at the children's expense.
And my grandma would have left church like, ooh, we had church today.
Church. And you hear her say,
no, they'll come up to you, girl, you know you let God use.
And then next Sunday I get up there and do the same thing because y'all lying. You know I sounded terrible. I hate that. All right.
Let me tell you this. Ain't nothing worse than that CD. It ain't nothing worse than rehearsing all night on Thursday wanting to do Now Behold the Lamb. And first of all, the sound man gonna click the wrong song. I said track 5.
And then
he getting to track 5 and
no, let me tell you what's even more embarrassing though. When the church joins in to sing to finish singing.
Because the song done skipped out.
It's never
and then the musicians trying to jump in a different key. Y'all nuts.
Why would y'all do that, bro? No. And then the worst is the clapping when the CD is skipping and you're standing there literally.
I hate everything about it.
Okay, let's do this. What about your boyfriend comes to church and you have a full out Baptist fit? What's more embarrassing than that? Really? What's more embarrassing?
That's very embarrassing because he's not going to let you forget it.
Ever.
He either going to clown you or really be concerned and break up with you. That conversation in the car
that
after?
Ride home? Oh, no. I'm taking an Uber. Yeah. I'm getting on the van. Are you kidding me? Because we're not.
How do you come back from that?
Where do we go from
here? Ain't nothing embarrassing.
Especially if you're not from church.
But ain't nothing more embarrassing than him coming to church and him getting the braces. Because now I don't want you no more. No.
Oh, no, I don't want you no more. No, because I'm the only one that's supposed to be
to bed.
How about that now? I was going to use an H word, but I like bed too.
Oh, no, that could be a new one. If I got you in the world, I want you to stay right there. Don't you come and get deliverance on my watch.
On my watch, not on my dime.
Because imagine him shouting and it's real
I don't
ugly.
play that. Imagine a thug praise is something. A reform. Thank you, Jew. No. Oh, I hate how
and then they be shouting.
Oh, Lord. Y'all do a nice little
If I invite you to church, sit and hush.
And
don't say no.
Stay in the place. I want you to leave the same way you came.
Okay. Please.
In his name.
What about when they make kids shout?
Oh,
I hated that when I was little. Come on up here.
I don't know how.
I hate when you minding your own business and the church mother come and pull you onto the altar and you feel like you got to squeeze the tea out so they leave you alone.
You have to send the church up. Yeah. See, since I'm an overachiever, I can't just cry. I have to roll on the floor a couple of times, do the worm.
I'm going to say, knowing I'm going right right back to call Johnny tonight.
Actually, I'm texting as soon as I get back to the sea. So
y'all gotta stop making these little kids shout.
I'm 11.
And lay hands on y'all unless they really are called.
Preach and stuff. Like, let's just stop putting children in like positions, because I feel like that is another level of pressure that is just really crazy.
Unless they're really genuinely called to it.
But this is my thing.
There's some kids that I feel like are.
And back to the tarrying for a brief second. I feel like there should be an age limit on tarrying. And let me tell you why. Because it's a traumatic experience. And I feel like until you can understand what's going on.
I'm kind of with you, because I know baptism has an age.
It should.
You can't get baptized until a certain age.
It should. And I feel like you don't understand. And a lot of the time, I was upset about stuff I didn't really have to know yet.
I think I need to be rebaptized, because I was just doing it because my grandma was like, it's time.
Exactly. Like, a lot of stuff is just like, what the freak is going on?
Now, you know what's secondhand embarrassing? That's I don't know if it needs to be taken away, but when your mama was in that choir stand, you was cutting the floor in that pew and she get up.
A little gnarl.
But baby, ain't nothing worse when she have to come down and carry you to the vestibule and tear your behind.
Baby, and don't let you be sitting on the road with your friends and she come and snatch you.
And you cackling down boots.
And you don't see her coming.
And they still there. You still
cackling. You being the church clown, the church court jester.
It's like, nah, you were out because you couldn't even tap me and tell me she coming.
I was over here entertaining you.
I hate being blindsided into a whooping. And when you come back in church, you can't. It's the walk of shame.
And you can't even smile. You gotta be pissed the rest of the time.
Some of the mothers don't even have. They just stare at you.
That's all it takes for me. Like,
that's secondhand embarrassment.
My mama
and that's
got a
trauma. I'm still traumatized.
Yeah, for sure.
What about when your PKs can really
relate to this?
Calling your name from the pulpit.
Bro, that's just classic.
My dad used to, because she want to stay out all night. Wake up.
Terrible, evil, diabolical. Like,
are you kidding me?
Are you kidding? Why would you tell these people my business?
Imagine me telling them that you ain't studied last night. You was up.
Imagine me telling me you was watching TD Jakes and this is his sermon.
No, you was watching WrestleMania. Get into that. You was watching YouTube clips.
Imagine you was watching the Young and the Restless. I knew you wasn't preparing for church. You get up. No, y'all, please stop doing that. That's
God, it's so embarrassing.
It's triggering, and it's like even more than embarrassing.
Just preaching on your kids, period. Unless it's positive. Like, the church don't need to know all of our business.
They don't need to know I'm deep in sin.
All of theirs. Sister Sheila tell you that Jerome back in jail for the third time.
How about that?
And the church may or may not have to bail him out.
And I know the pastor ain't tell you that they swiped the church car for a little Brooks Brothers to
go to Jazz Fest, but y'all thought he was on sabbatical. And he in a linen suit listening to Frankie Mays.
And Beverly.
Frankie Beverly and Mays. And y'all thought he was freaking
throwback Donnie McClurkin, because you know all dads love throwback Donnie McClurkin. Are you kidding me? Please go too.
Yeah. But in conclusion, y'all, like, we definitely want to build a community that's productive.
And that's that has a resolution. Because I don't want us to just...
Do you want a revolution? Do you want a revolution?
I think we want a resolution.
Do you want a resolution?
Ooh, woo.
I said, do you want a resolution?
And do.
And down boo. Now you tune into the Good Judys. Y'all, we love y'all so much. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this post. Add some comments under there. And
tell us what you think.
Yeah.
We want to hear from the good
Are you going to let Churt keep you from the Lord?
Or are you going to give him your best praise?
Till next time, y'all. Peace out. Love you.
Peace.
Down, boo.